caution. Your paradigm is about to shift at the intersection of fact and reason. You're entering Kingston Country.
I'm Dan Kingston, and you're listening to the Dan Kingston Podcast.
I have a problem with some of the tweets. I'm happy to say that, in fact, the president has never asked me to do anything in a criminal case. However, to have public statements and tweets made about the department, about our people in the department, our men and women here, about cases pending in the department, and about judges before whom we have cases, make it impossible for me to do my job.
Impossible for him to do his job. That's Bill Barr, Attorney General, saying that these tweets from Trump and public statements about the Roger Stone case are making it impossible for him to do his job. Well, it's a very firm warning on ABC News to back off. There's no other way to put it. The Attorney General of the United States is telling the President of the United States, hey, back off. This is getting in the way and interfering with the ability to do my job. The question is why? Why is Barr coming out to say this in such a public way on ABC News? And I got to tell you that I don't listen to the other pundits. I don't listen to the other podcasts. What you're about to hear from me is from me. It's my theory. It's what I've been thinking about. And I'll present several ideas because I'm not pretending like I have all the answers here. But this is what I love about politics. This is the good stuff. When the news breaks and you're able to analyze it for yourself. I'm going to give you the facts on the story. I'm going to present some of my ideas, what some other people have told me, and then you're going to decide for yourself. And I want you to let me know what you think is going on, because to me, and this is just to me, it looks like Barr is acting to protect himself. And my first reaction is, whoa, someone got to Barr. Who got to Barr? Just my opinion. And now, President of the United States, Donald Trump and Barr are tight, okay? So could this be a plan that Barr is using to protect the president? Maybe this is somehow designed to benefit the president in Barr's mind. Did that happen? I don't know. It doesn't look like it. If that was a strategy, well, all the attention now is on Barr, is on Trump, is on Stone, even more than it was before. So if this was an intentional strategy, I don't know. Again, to me, it looks like somebody powerful scared Barr. Who would scare the Attorney General? A lot of people, maybe you're one of them, react strongly to that. Oh, Bill Barr is not intimidated by nobody. He's the strongest guy in the world. And look, the guy doesn't look like a muscle man to me. Honestly, he looks a little bit like a weasel. But that being said, he's been very loyal to Trump until now. This is not something that's great. We're going to see how Trump reacts. If Trump reacts strongly, one way or another, that will be evidence, you could say, to support or go against whatever argument you have to why Barr came out so strongly in this warning. Back off, Mr. President. He's been so closely connected with Trump at this point. They seem to be arm in arm. And so the media is having a field day with this, saying, look, the president's strongest proponent and ally is turning against him. What do you make of it? Could somebody from the deep state have gotten to Barr? They say to Barr, listen, who's really in charge? We are. You know that more than anybody, given your CIA background, right? Isn't he CIA? Either way, Barr knows what's going on in the deep state. He knows that since Eisenhower, hell, before that, Truman, the president has wrestled control over the government with the deep state, with the military-industrial complex that Eisenhower warned about, but that Truman first had to deal with. Maybe you don't know that when the nuclear bomb was invented, It wasn't believed to be under the president's authority to use it at his discretion or not use it at his discretion. That authority, it believed to be left up to the military itself because they had the authority to drop bombs. I mean, during World War II, do you think FDR was approving every single bombing raid? And today, do you think that the president approves every single drone strike? No, that's not the way it is. And that wasn't the way it was with Hiroshima. Truman was involved in the decision, but not to the extent you might imagine. And he wrestled control over the nuclear program with the military-industrial complex, and Eisenhower the same, which is why they warn, especially Eisenhower warns of the military-industrial complex, which now can be expanded into the military media industrial complex. And they, in fact, are owners of the deep state. And that's where the real power and concentration of power has evolved. What you have now is a President Trump who's taking on that shadow government, and they don't like it. They don't like it. Now, whatever the reason, is Trump doing it to expose the elites? Or is he simply the kind of guy who's boss, and he doesn't like the fact there's a shadow government in charge telling him what to do? Whatever reason, I support the president in taking on the deep state. The question is, does Attorney General Bill Barr share that same resolve to take on the deep state? I question it. I question that this is some kind of strategy that Barr is using to protect the president, although I won't put it past that being used as a defense. I'm sure Bill Barr will go ahead and say, look, I had to say this to protect the president. This is why I'm creating independence, is for the president's sake. But if that were the case, if the attorney general were so concerned with the president's well-being, then Bill Barr should have kept his mouth shut. You just stay quiet. If you're internally frustrated, you're internally frustrated. If you can't do your job, then you leave because it's impossible to do your job. But to come on to ABC News and to say that the president needs to back off, needs to stop tweeting and leave you alone so that you can do your job, looks to me coming way out of left field. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't add up. None of the explanations that I've given you really make sense to me. But I think the closest thing that makes sense is that some shadowy figure from the deep state, representative of the deep state, whether that's a group of powerful Republican senators, whether it's CIA or who else knows what, FBI, coming to Bill Barr and saying, you know, Bill Barr is the attorney general, right? But do you think that he's the top of the FBI? You don't think that the FBI is fragmented? You don't think that the CIA is fragmented? You don't think that the CIA is inside the FBI and that the FBI is inside the CIA? Oh, no, it's all a big one happy family. Oh, yeah. No competition, no competing interests, no agencies spying on no other agency. Oh, no. It's just a bunch of good guys. Grow up. It's not the 1950s. You can handle the truth. There's a lot of competing interests inside the United States government, just like inside every government. And the only person you can really trust is a person you voted for, is a person the country voted for. That's the president of the United States, and he's only got 2 terms, if that. And then you get another one. And they're elected by the people if everything goes right. But even if not, they're replaced in 4 years or 8 years. So you can trust the president of the United States. You can't say that for Congress. They stay in there for life. You can't say that for the Supreme Court. They stay in there for life. And you can't say that for the deep state. The only person we have is the president. Don't you get it?
This is Kingston Country.
The Dan Kingston Podcast is brought to you by Traveling with Janice and Cruise Brothers. This is a great time of year to plan your summer vacations. Lots of great travel specials for cruises and tours. Call Traveling with Janice and Cruise Brothers for all these ideas for families, groups, weddings. 480-648-3324 or email travelingwithjanice@gmail.com.
Hey everyone, Mario Presents here, and I want to thank you for listening to the Dan Kingston podcast. Keep listening for great content, and as a Hispanic child of immigrants who happens to be gay, I can tell you we love America, we love our president, and yes, gay conservatives exist.
So who's intimidating Bill Barr? He looks like he's backing down in this interview, like he is afraid, he looks concerned, he looks worried for his own protection. If this is some kind of strategy, it's not working and it's not smart. And I'd argue it's a dumb one. I want to talk about the president's new budget proposal, balancing the budget in 10 years or 15 years or who knows when. You know, we got a $23 trillion debt. You got interest payments on the debt, like any interest payments, like on your credit card. Well, the government has interest payments, believe it or not, on that $23 trillion debt. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here, okay? Well, those payments add up to the fourth largest budget item. The fourth largest budget item. The third largest budget item, by the way, is defense. And the interest payments on this $23 trillion debt are fastly growing, quickly growing, to becoming tied with defense spending as the third largest budget item, replacing defense spending as the third largest budget item. When that happens, it's going to be on the front page of every newspaper, every magazine, every internet article, and people are going to say, what the hell happened? Where did this come from? How come we weren't warned about it? Well, you won't be because you're listening to the Dan Kingston podcast. You know what's going on. Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time criticizing this decision to balance the budget in 15 years or 10 years or whatever the hell when we have a $23 trillion debt, because there's bigger interests than just Trump. I'm sure if it was up to Trump, he could get it done. But there's so much more at play. And there's so many people that are just dependent on that fat and corruption. And there's no way around it. So you have to deal with the devil in order to get stuff done. I do want to compliment some increase in spending going to quantum computing. This is really important because a lot of people, a lot of experts believe China is getting the advantage on artificial intelligence and quantum computing. And believe it or not, this is the future. This is the Manhattan Project of our time. Perhaps bigger than the Manhattan Project. Whoever creates a super artificial intelligent computer has created something more powerful than a nuclear weapon. By how many multiples, I don't know, but it's indisputable that the power and control and dominance you would achieve by creating a super artificial intelligence would be unmatched. And the way to do that is by building a quantum computer. Now, China is ahead, and at least that's what we're afraid of. But last year, in 2018, I guess that was 2 years ago, Trump did earmark $1.2 billion for quantum computing research. $1.2 billion is not insignificant sum. Neither is $25 million, considerably less, but still a lot of money going into the quantum internet. And that's been earmarked this year, according to this new budget proposal. And what is quantum internet? Well, it can help with encryption. It's really important because it's unhackable. Well, if you get the quantum internet, you can send information. There's no way that China or Russia or North Korea or Iran or even Israel can hack our shit with quantum internet. All right. 25 million goes there. And also an executive order that has made artificial intelligence research development a national priority. That's new. Really important that we make artificial intelligence research and development a national priority. It's good. Now, this is a big one. You've heard of DARPA. DARPA's doing crazy advanced research. Some stuff, I would argue, might not be in our best interest, but they are researching quantum computers, and that is in our best interest. Their funding has gone up to $249 million, up from 50. So that's huge, you could say. 249 up from 50 million. And the National Science Foundation their funding has been increased to $850 million, and it was about $500 million before. So big increases in science. Whatever the far left wants to tell you about Trump being against science and against technology and oogie boogeyman over here, well, he's investing in the technologies that are going to keep us safe around the world and help ensure our dominance as the number one superpower in the world. Now more than ever, we need to maintain our dominance because look at the alternatives. I'm not ready to cede over control to China anytime soon. Are you?
Kingston Country. You've been listening to the Dan Kingston Podcast.
Dan Kingston here, asking you to do me a huge favor. Will you possibly rate the Dan Kingston Podcast on Apple Podcasts? Each new rating, believe it or not, really does have a major impact on the way Apple's algorithm recommends content. With just one quick click, you can help promote citizen journalism and end the stranglehold of the mainstream media. Together, we're going to do this. Thank you. I really appreciate your support.